So I just wanted to give a brief introduction to this one, as this was an episode recorded for 22 Grand Pod on Islington Radio, where Nick came on to pick some of his favourite songs of the 2000s, have a chat about the old days and the new days, and look forward to the live event next month. With his new band, Everyone Says Hi. Tickets still available and in the description. Right, yeah.
Really?
So you've been playing a lot of gigs recently?
Yes, yeah, not enough, but I've really enjoyed it. Just been on tour, a little tour of the UK. It's a bit stressful, but very good.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a quote from you saying one of the reasons you left Kaiser Chiefs was that you wanted to be more in control of like touring life and stuff like that.
Oh, right. I mean, there's quite a lot of reasons, and I mean that does sound like me. I can't say that I definitely said that, but I've said a lot of things. They yeah, I mean, I think it was like for me, it was just getting not as much fun really. Every time you put a record out, everyone slagged you off a bit, and then you have to go on the road for a year and a half. And I was just ready to not do that.
Yeah, fair play.
Um, yeah, I mean it's great when you're on the way up. I think for me personally, I felt like we were at the top of the hill looking down a bit, and it wasn't as much fun.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew there was other things in the world to do.
You've obviously got that itch to scratch type of thing. Obviously, you've carried on songwriting, but in terms of
Mm.
forming a band, did it feel like there was unfinished business type thing?
Not unfinished business because I really felt like in the Kaiser Chiefs, everything I ever dreamt of when I was a kid, we did and more. Right, I could never really. All I wanted to do was sell out. I don't know. No, I was not even selling out. I just wanted to play stuff like the O2 academies. Like this is when I was like 19 or something. That's my dream. And yeah, I just knew that we could do it, so I did it. And by the end of it, I wanted to do something else.
Yeah, fair play. Well, I mean, I'm conscious that we've got this live event coming up, so I don't want to
I know. I was
do
thinking that.
too
Yeah,
much
we
of a
can
deep dive or
plan.
anything. But if we try and link it in with the songs you sent across,
That's a good
uh,
idea.
like if we go take it back to those early 2000s in
Yeah.
Leeds, and I've had Tom Greater Rex on talking about that time and the Pigs night.
Pigs,
Um,
yeah.
so, I
So
mean,
I
how
did.
much did that link in with all this music type thing? Yeah.
Okay, so I was really like my main thing I was doing. So beginning of 2000s, I was in the band. I was in a band with pretty much yeah all the Kaiser Chiefs, but we were called Parva. We had a record deal in 2001, which is obviously a big deal. We made an album. It never came out. A record company sort of it went under actually the label. So I thought, what can I do? And somebody offered me a DJ job at the cockpit. So I was like, straight away, well, I can't DJ. I don't know how you do it. But he was like, well, it's easy. Okay. So I did that, got paid. I was like, wow, this is good. Um, so that was 2001. No, actually, it's 2002. So the Strokes had come out and changed the whole of music. And so I was in this little room in the cockpit with some other friends, and we had to play new stuff. And it was all this Detroit stuff. It was like Detroit was the big place. It was like what the NME called the New Rock Revolution, I believe,
Hmm.
and garage rock. And so like when it was so exciting playing all these bands, mainly from Detroit, but then you'd get stuff like the Datsuns and the Hives and the Vines, and we were playing all the first, all those records when they first came out. And then, do you want to do these songs like in order or something, or do you want me to talk generally about them?
Well, yeah, I'll go. We'll play them in order, but I mean, just talk about what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I picked all these songs because I thought these were really, really important to me when I was. Um, it was that change, that transition between Parva and um, Kaiser Chiefs, and the DJing was such an important part because you could just see who's dancing to what and what. Because there was three rooms in the cockpit in Leeds back then, and you had to try and keep people engaged. And you'd play a song, and everyone would leave, and you'd go, right, okay, what's going on there? And then you'd play a song and everyone would run in. And Franz Ferdinand was such a big thing. Franz Ferdinand seemed to take, like with Darts of Pleasure was the first one. which I didn't include in this, but I included Take Me Out because when that came on, like when that came out, just like everyone went crazy. All the coolest people and all, I don't know, they were all 18 or whatever, and just right, they could not get enough of that. And I was just like enjoying it. I was really loving it, but also thinking as well, okay, what is it about this that's so good, and why do people love this? And Blondie, I didn't include Blondie obviously because it's not from the noughties, but Blondie, the just the drum beat. So I would DJ Friday night, and Saturday morning I'd go into the rehearsal room, and it was just like a total no-brainer. You just start doing the Blondie beat or the Franz Ferdinand beat, and suddenly it felt good.
Yeah, yeah, because I was reading that you kind of ditched your previous songs that you had and were like realized what was working in these clubs that you're playing and
Mm.
just went from there, used that as kind of a base and started from there. But I mean, it must have been a pretty rapid rise from that point.
That was a really easy time. It was unbelievable. I mean, we went from having no songs in, tell you, let's think, no songs in April 2003 to having the first single come out. Oh my God, I think also in 2003, the demo of that. Or maybe that was
Wow.
just the turn of 2004 because it was whatever had happened in the previous 6 years had led us to sort of understand. You know, people always say like when you make a mistake, you learn, and without mistakes, you'll never learn, and all that. Well, we'd learned a lot, and it all became really sort of crystallized. I think the music scene at the time was really, really helpful. Um, Franz Ferdinand kicked open that door in 2003, and it really suited us as well. We were really struggling to sort of fit in with that American garage rock. And if you do, I mean, the Enemy was king back then. So you really had to break into the Enemy. If you didn't, then you were just going to struggle for life if you were in a band. So you always try to sort of fit in a bit. But when we saw that, I felt like garage rock and the new rock revolution had died. No, it wasn't dying. It was dying because it was like, and also we were trying. I always used to say the same thing. Um, uh, oh, sorry, it was if you can see the band, yeah, if you can see the bandwagon, you've already missed it. I always used to say that, and so we always thought, okay, what is just around the corner? What can we do? What? And so we just thought. I remember thinking in the Enemy there wasn't a single British band mentioned in like one issue or something. I was like, okay, if that is totally unpopular, then that's got to be the next thing. So we tried to really be dead British. That was a thing. And also the Ordinary Boys really helped. I think they came out with all the Fred Perrys and everything about a year or 2 years before us. And it was like, okay, wow, they're doing something. And all that sort of thing just got into the melting pot of what we were doing. And we were so like determined to make it that we never, ever, ever stopped thinking about it. And we were just so like, 100% 24/7 thinking and doing and writing and trying to be it. So it all just came out really quick in the end.
Okay, so let's go to your first song then. You mentioned The Strokes. Why this particular song?
Um, it's not my favorite on the album, the first album, which is my favorite album, but I just it's different enough. It's one that you don't hear that often. It's different enough from the normal, last night and someday. My favorite is actually I can never remember the name of it, which is kind of weird, isn't it? My favorite is Trying Your Luck.
Oh, okay.
I love it. I just forget what it's called.
Yeah, yeah, great
So
song.
it's my favorite album, so I've got to represent it.
Okay, cool. Well, here it is. Here's The Strokes with Soma. Then yeah, I remember a while ago, a video of Baby Shambles backstage in Leeds surfaced,
Yeah, yeah.
where you were
I'm
knocking
on
about
there.
in there, I think, and I think Pete Doherty was asking for requests, so I think you made a request for him on
I did, yeah.
the old
Johnny,
acoustic.
the boy, what is it called?
The Boy Looked at Johnny.
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently, it's got references to Johnny Burrell. I don't know.
That was interesting that evening because I think I was DJing, yeah, so that was just the dressing room above where I was DJing. And
Okay.
so I think I got there early. They were on stage. Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever seen Baby Shambles. And obviously there was a huge amount of hype about it because he'd sort of been booted out of the Libertines and he's got this new band and suddenly they're on tour. So you go and have a look and then I mean it was very smoky in that room. But it wasn't cigarettes. It was a little bit it was a I mean no, there you go.
A bit wacky.
But it wasn't even wacky. It was even more serious than that.
Yeah.
Anyway, not for me. I was trying to hold my breath.
Yeah, fair play. I mean, how excited were you by the Libertines? And I mean,
Not at all.
Yeah, Tom Greer said he wasn't that bothered, really. Found it all a bit contrived.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe I was just, it seems odd, really. I mean, obviously, I played the songs when they came out and I bought the album, but that was just being a normal, like, music indie fan or whatever. You just buy the album, have a listen. I thought it was good, but I never got that into it. It was too shambolic for me. I wanted that was one of the things that inspired me and us to work with Stephen Street. The fact that everyone was trying to be as like in the studio as lazy as possible, and I was like, okay, we need to do the opposite. We need to try and be, um, I don't know, make a really good record that wasn't in that style. Yeah, I think no, it's good. I mean, I like the songs; they are good, and they've stood the test of time, which is good. But I was never that mad about them.
Yeah, fair play. I was going to your second song, then a band that I saw over the weekend actually, which is pretty brilliant. Interpol. Yeah, why this band and why this song?
I'm off to see him tomorrow at Ali Pali, and
Oh, amazing.
um, obviously they're on my mind. This song is amazing. I've just remembered a song that I haven't included, and it's my favorite song of all time.
Go on.
The Rat by the Walkmen.
Oh, we can play it at the end, that's fine.
Okay. So yeah, it sort of fits in with that. And it's just a little bit of a timeline. So I sort of the Strokes and then Interpol were also really important. So yeah, I just stuck it in.
Yes, well here it is. Here's Interpol with Obstacle One. Then yeah, talking about DJing, what was the best? So if you had to like play a nailed on banger to get people dancing, what would it
Yeah.
be? Would it be The
Well, it
Rat?
was interesting. I was really back in those days, right? I feel a little bit sorry for DJs now because if they have to put on a total banger, they have to reference something from 15, 20 years ago. But we were playing songs that were absolutely just coming out like around that time. So one song was Hot Hot Heat Bandages. You could put that on and everyone would just leave whatever they're doing. If they were queuing for the toilets, whatever it was, they'd all just run on the dance floor. It was amazing. And the same with anything by Franz Ferdinand. Uh, so it was really good. It was such a exciting scene because all the songs we were playing, apart from like we would play old stuff, but stuff that linked in. So you'd be like Blondie and I was never playing the Stone Roses. I never played the Smiths, even though I like those bands. Never played Oasis or Blur or anything. It was either stuff that had come out that year or the year before, or stuff that had come out in the 70s or 80s, early 80s, because it all linked in really, really well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you look at like festival lineups from that time, they're so strong and like they're all of the time. It's mad. Like I was looking at
Yeah.
I was reminded that I went to see One Big Weekend in Sunderland when you played.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
the lineup then is just mad. It's like you, Interpol, Maximo Park, um, Future Heads. Just like I don't know, really. It's just like wall to
No, I
wall
agree. Yeah.
great bands rather than where now, like you say, I don't know if it that's part of the podcast is like looking at music now is like, has it changed? Has it got worse for guitar bands? I don't really know. What do you make of it?
One thing I think is that songwriters who like all bands have got songwriters in them. I think if you are a songwriter these days, I think a lot of people who, if you're a current songwriter, then you try and get into songwriting sessions with pop artists, or you try and produce stuff and send it and try and break into music that way instead of. But when I was growing up, if you wrote songs, you only had one way in. You weren't making beats on your computer, and there was no one to send them to. You weren't writing songs and trying to get into writing sessions because writing sessions, then were like there was probably 20 songwriters in the UK and 20 songwriters in America that were and Sweden or whatever who were doing everything. And it's only in the last few years that there's 20, on 20 doing like if you got there's 100 writing sessions going on right now in London, and there's 100 songwriters doing these sessions. There's probably more, and you just get a whole bundle of songs that never come out. But when I was growing up, and when a lot of people around the scene we've just been talking about were growing up, if you wanted to write a song, you just play it on the guitar and get your mates to play it with you. Simpler
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, I mean, everything definitely seemed a lot more linear. Is it you?
Linear is right,
Yeah.
totally. It was really kind of linear. It was very, like you say, linear. You would write a song. I would write a song in the evening, or write a bit or a start to a song or whatever. Take it into the rehearsal the next day. Play it to an audience at some point, and try and get in the enemy. And that was it. That's all you had to do. Trying to get into the enemy was quite difficult to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, what was your relationship like with the enemy? Was it pretty
Well, it
good?
was terrible for about 6 years. They wouldn't even mention us because they just hated us as Parva. Um, that was a total dead loss.
6 years, okay. So how long was that going Parva then?
Parva started, no, 6 years included Runston Parva as well. So the first time we ever had a band practice was 1997, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
We were teenagers, so that's okay. Um, we so from then to about 2004, I think, or yeah, 2004, we got NME Single of the Week for our debut for Oh My God, which was the demo that came out. But a lot of that was to do with a guy called Tim Jones. I don't know how you say it really. And he was a brilliant writer for NME, and now he writes for The Guardian and stuff. And I invited him to DJ at Pigs. And Pigs would get quite a lot of mentions in the NME. And after about sort of 2 months of talking to Tim on email and whatever, I dropped that I was also in a band, and I sent him the demo. So it's a bit crafty, really. He, and to my absolute joy, he loved the demo, and I was just like, okay, unbelievable. In fact, our second ever gig was supporting Franz Ferdinand at the Cockpit, and Tim Jones. I was walking down the street in Leeds, and he rang me up the day after and said, "How was the gig?" And I described it, and he goes, "Okay, cool, that'll do." And then the next week, my words were in the NME. So I wrote the review. And at that point, I was from 6 years of just being completely ignored. I just thought, wow, this is it. We've done it. And then we had like 5 front covers, and I think they just liked. We did good interviews as well, and gave them some crazy quotes that followed us around for a few years.
Yeah, yes. And is that what you mean by you say like being able to use experience? Like you'd already had that experience of being in a band since like the late 90s type thing.
Yeah, we just figure out why is no one listening. It's great being really unpopular because it's after a while you figure out why. And also the DJing was really important because you figure out what is popular. People
Yeah.
used to think it was really contrived back in the day when we first came out, and I was very anti that idea. But I mean, when you think about it was very thought out, and it was based on a load of disappointment, frustration, and just basically, I don't know, being fed up of being ignored. So
Yeah.
we'd spend most days in rehearsal and most evenings in the pub, with my notebook, and I'd write down all the stuff that we were talking about, and it's very exciting.
Yeah,
Easy.
yes.
It was easy, apart from the first 6 years.
All right, let's loop back into the DJing element then. And House of Jealous Lovers, I mean, a staple of any indie night at that point. Was that
Yes,
kind of a go-to for that period?
yeah, totally. You couldn't not. If you didn't play it, somebody else would. So it was always on, and it was just brilliant. And there was another couple of Rapture songs which we loved, and but this one, and I can hear this now, and I'll be totally transported. It's good.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, okay, well, here it is. Here's The Rapture with House of Jealous Lovers. Did you watch Meet Me in the Bathroom? Was that of particular
Yeah,
interest to you?
yeah. I watched it. I didn't love it. Thought I want to see more Strokes.
Yeah, exactly what I thought. Like
Um,
Unseen Strokes, yeah.
yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, fair play. And then, yeah, Tom obviously told us about a bit of a origin story of I Predict a Riot. And you mentioned your
Right.
notebook. Was that one of those
How
occasions
did it?
where you yeah, you saw an idea for a song, kind of jotted it down there and then?
I said it. I just said I picked right to this guy Ed who owned the Hi-Fi Club, which is where Pigs was, and um, yeah, Black White were on stage, and but I would always like hear stuff and make notes of stuff that people would say or I'd say or things that you're thinking about, because I think titles are really really amazing for starting songs. I still do that. If you get a good title, then you're halfway there, really. If you can't write a good song around, every day I love you less and less, then I don't know. It's and then somebody will just yeah because for I was just always thinking about it. So like I was listening to I used to love that song by Dogs Die in Hot Cars called I Love You Because I Have to, and I was
Yeah, yeah.
oh we need a song like that. It's funny. It's got that lyric, something like every day I love you less and less, and then Ricky would go off and fill it all in, and there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Great song. And I mean, would those early Kaiser Chiefs songs all come about in the same format kind of thing? Would you always come up with them in a certain way?
Um, a few. All right, two I can think of. Just we're in the rehearsal room that we were just playing and playing and playing and playing, and gradually it becomes it. I was always singing and shouting over the mic and trying to get, um, we just play, and Ricky would sometimes shout out. I'd say, "Go on, shout out a chord," because he can't play. He doesn't play any instrument, Ricky, so he doesn't know. Like if we're playing he would just shout out a chord, and so so we'd be playing something, and I'd say, "Go on, Ricky, you tell us the chords," because he doesn't know the chords. He just shout them, and you'd end up in some weird.
Wait, just shout random letters out.
Well, not F. No, yeah, F, not P. He would
Yeah,
just
yeah.
shout out a chord, and then we'd all have to hit it on the thing and see what happens.
Yes.
Uh, it was good. We just spent a lot of time in the rehearsal room. I always tell people the same thing if they're interested. Here is a bag of mini discs, and that is a bag, Fortnum's bag, full of mini discs, right? So I'll try and get this in the camera. I know this, but that is all rehearsals for our first album, pretty much.
Yes.
And there's about 100 hours or something. No, there's got to be more than that. More. There'll be 200 hours of band practice in there.
Excellent.
And so you just figure, and like, so, I mean, I could go on for a lot.
Go for it.
This bag contains pretty much 10 songs, even though there's 200 hours. So,
What
um,
kind of like refined by each
just
minute disc
chucking
then?
stuff out. It was just constant chucking stuff out until you got to something that was good. We had a real problem getting noticed because we'd been in a band before and we'd been signed, and we were feeling very much under I don't know under pressure to be to get the best songs really. So we would just chuck everything out all the time.
And how important was it having like a space where you could just go and do that? Because I guess not every band would have that luxury. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of bands, and it was just a rehearsal room in Leeds. It was
Oh,
just
okay.
called Old Chapel. Um, yeah, we just I think we did 3 times a week, and then bits at my flat, and then that's it.
Yeah, yeah. Just kind
And
of.
everyone had to work. Everyone was working and doing stuff. I was lucky because I was DJing, which is like you don't rehearse at night that much, so it's fine.
And I guess that's where like the band dynamic comes into play if everyone's kind of going for it with the same kind of energy
Yeah, but everyone
type thing.
was. Um, One thing that was really good in our band was that everyone was such a tough audience. I mean, it was awful, really, but it really helped. Me, I'd be into a song, and Ricky would usually be into it as well, and then you had to convince the other three, and they were so unbelievably hard to convince. So when you got through and they liked it, um, I suppose that was really good and an achievement in itself. So went from there.
Okay, yes. Right, so let loop back into the songs then. And the next song, Peter Beyond and John, that really it really stuck with me at the time, that song. I absolutely loved it. But yeah,
Yeah,
you kind of same feeling for you.
I actually don't have any sort of memories of it at the time. I just
I
love
remember
it.
knowing it. I remember knowing the song
Yeah,
before I knew who it was. I was like, who is that song? I used to hear it every week when I went out, but I didn't know it for about a month or something.
yeah. It's a weird one, isn't it? But it's so good. I just thought I've always listened to that and thought I'd love to get a song like that. They're
Set on a
hard.
whistling melody,
But
yeah.
they sound simple. It's those songs a bit like Foster the People, uh, and some Vampire Weekend stuff. It sounds really simple, but somehow the simplicity is the genius.
No, definitely. Like MGMT is similar, isn't it? Some of theirs.
Yeah, yeah, they're amazing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I just admire this song.
Okay, well, here it is. Here's Peter, Bjorn, and John with Young Folks. Then, yeah, in terms of the songwriting, just interested because, people would probably rush and sign deals and maybe sign away rights to things. Were you a bit more careful in like keeping
No,
the rights to
no,
songs? No?
no.
Yeah, fair
We signed
enough.
a publishing deal in 2001, and it's, I believe, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the same one that. Oh, actually, I mean, well, it gets complicated, let's be honest, but um, that deal is still going.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Are you just keen to get off the market at that point, though? Is that what happens?
yeah, you, I mean, it wasn't a bad deal. It was a pretty standard deal, but you, yeah, we for records, for example, we had one offer. So you either take it or you just get a normal job.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I've never been ever in the situation where there's been a bidding war, so I don't know what that's like. I always used to recommend to people though, that they never take the money. Oh no, take the money, but don't go for the most money because I mean I used to tell people that all the time, and no one ever listened. But you'd see the same person getting signed, big label, big money, and then nothing happened, and then 2 years later, they don't have a record deal anymore. But I mean, we got because we had no offers, and Be Unique were an independent with no funding. It was a seriously low offer. But it's great
Okay.
because you can pay that back pretty quick, and then you're rocking and you're on to your second album. That's how it
That's
works.
it. Did he stay with them then? You didn't like
Yeah.
flirt with any majors or anything?
No, the only change happened when it was distribution really. That we had major label Universal took over the distribution because there was, it was getting big, so Be Unique couldn't handle it with the independent distribution they were going through.
Ah, okay. That is ace though that you stuck with them. That's
Oh, we didn't have a choice. It wasn't a moral thing.
fair
It was,
play,
yeah.
yeah. And then when someone like Lily Allen covers "Oh My God," does that come to you? Is it like, do you want this or not type thing, or is it other people involved?
was having this conversation with somebody the other day about covers and whether you have to give permission, and I don't remember. I don't know if you do, but what happened? So yeah, Mark Ronson was not famous, and Lily Allen wasn't famous. It was our publisher, Mike. Um, he knew Lily Allen. I think he may have signed her, I suppose, and he just had told us about this cover that was going on. And because everything was so rapid at that time, and things would happen every single day, you would hear about some cover that was going on. And you go, yeah, fine, whatever, and then you'd listen to it, and yeah, yeah, it was good. I really liked it. We were in the video. Um,
Was it an animated thing?
yeah, it's mainly
Yeah.
yeah, it was animated. It was a bit like sort of Jessica Rabbit, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
She was doing Jessica Rabbit kind of thing, and we were like just in the crowd at some gig.
Yes. Have you got a song on a current advert? I seem to remember
I
recently.
don't know.
Should probably do more research on that. I'm sure I heard a Kaiser Chiefs song on a current advert that I don't.
There's a tea one. There's a Yorkshire tea. Is it that one?
Probably, yeah. But yeah, anyway, must be pretty cool to have that interest still.
It's very good.
And would you be going to see him next year by any chance?
I don't know really. There's chats about it, doing stuff and whatever, but nothing set in stone. It depends really. If I get yeah, I don't know. We've chatted.
Yeah, fair play. Leave that for the live event.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go back to the songs one more time by Daft Punk. Maybe not
Okay. Yeah.
one that people would expect, but was this another floor filler type vibe?
Yeah. Floor filler, Daft Punk. You can't go wrong really. Um. Yeah. It's just that you stick it on and everyone loves it.
Yeah, yeah. End of the night type thing, innit?
Yeah. It's amazing.
All right, so here it is. Here's Daft Punk with One More Time. Then the next one, maybe one that people wouldn't expect. I don't know, Kanye West Gold Digger, but it was massive at that point, wasn't
Yeah.
it? It
Yeah.
seemed to
Just
get played at all types of nights.
yeah. That was the thing about Pigs. It was all very much. I don't even know when this came out.
Yeah, let's
I
have a
can't quite
look.
think because I remember American Boy was out.
2005, it seemed. I don't know.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Um, yeah, you just play anything at Pigs. It was really good. You could play anything. I remember like Outcast, Toxic by Britney Spears,
Hmm.
and they were just floor fillers in the same way that, Franz Ferdinand was a floor filler. Big records.
Yeah, well, let's play it then. Here's Kanye West and Jamie Foxx with Gold Digger. Then you recently talked about the this landfill thing.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, that my ultimate takeaway, or like people's ultimate takeaway, even like NME journalists, was that they failed to coin the era with a term, which meant that everything kind
Yes.
of got thrown into the landfill thing. Is that something you'd go with?
Um, When did landfill start getting? It's a funny term.
It's weird, and it feels like it probably got crystallized by that Vice article a few years ago. I don't think you're actually involved in it, but I don't know. I just wondered if you had a take on
Because
it.
also people call it indie sleaze as well now, but they didn't call it then.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of got
Indie disco, I
recategorized. Yeah.
think you call it.
Yeah.
Um, what were we saying? Landfill. Yeah. I mean, I don't. It's just like when you get a big scene and you get some big bands, you get some smaller bands who copy the sound,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and it's all good because it means that you're really reaching the mainstream. It's all going well. I mean, it's sad now that there aren't lots of bands, so you couldn't copy a band. You couldn't really go, "Oh, I'm gonna try and get signed, so I'll copy this band." It's impossible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's just
Conor
a
McNicholas.
healthy scene. It means it's a healthy scene.
Yeah, fair play. And Conor McNicholas made the point that you were one of the K bands that kind of helped bridge the gap from kind of this alternative scene into like the mainstream.
Yeah.
Um,
What is
you
it?
and the
Kaisers, Kooks,
yeah
Killers.
Killers, um, possibly Claxons. I don't know. Maybe they were a bit later. But was that something you were aware of? Because I remember I Picked to Write coming out, and then it being when it got re-released that it went mad and like it went on Radio One all the time and stuff. Is that
That's
was that a
it.
conscious thing?
That was a really good thing. So we didn't want to release it again, and uh, our manager said, "Look, think." So we did a double A side the second time because we were very determined to sort of make it something new and not just be there, just re-release it. But our manager had said, basically, if you put it out again, because it came out just before summer, he said, Radio One have said it will be the song of the summer and it will be the biggest song on radio. And we're like, okay. Even then, we were like pushing back against it because we didn't, because there was a whole culture of selling out back then, which doesn't exist anymore. And the culture of selling out was very, you were very, you felt really under the microscope for everything you did. So we never, ever, ever did an advert while I was in the band. We never, but I mean, things changed after I left in terms of like, well, loads of things culturally and financially and everything. So, um, no adverts, no, you were just trying really hard to do the right thing. And so we wrote a song called Sink That Ship and we called it a double A side. And I think it was only for us really because no one noticed Sink That Ship.
No, I remember went absolutely bananas, like kind
Yeah.
of took things to a next level for you type thing.
The first time it got released, we had one play on Radio One. Joe, maybe in the afternoon actually. That was sort of not in the specialist shows, but yeah, radio. Joe Wiley played it one afternoon. Very exciting.
Yeah, and the idea of selling out, yeah, like you say, it doesn't really exist now. Is that because everyone knows how hard it is to make money these days?
Yeah, because then there was, like you said earlier, it's linear, and you could do this thing, sell CDs, get famous, sell CDs, sell tickets, go on tour, fine, bosh. Um, and now it's so spread out. So, when you're getting your 0.0001p from Spotify, like we were selling CDs in Tesco's, and when you do your shop, people were picking them up and sticking them in the trolley at the end. And like, they were 13, well, not 13 quid in the shop, in the supermarkets, but they were 10 quid. I mean, can you imagine that now? It was an easier route to making money. So, and don't know,
I can
just,
imagine you hit quite a lot of demographics. I imagine like it wouldn't just
yeah,
be that younger crowd. It'd be like, I can imagine like older people being into it at that time as well.
50
Like you say,
quid,
if it's
man, it's
readily
called.
available in Tesco, then
Yeah, yeah. 50 quid man. Do you remember that term?
no, I don't think
50,
so.
50 quid man was the guy who sort of, he's got a normal job, he's 40, drives a normal car, but still loves music, spends 50 quid a month on CDs. What a guy.
Where's he disappeared to? I suppose
Yeah.
it's vinyl now, and people are more
Oh yeah, that's true, yeah.
they're stuck in with vinyl. Maybe not
Yeah.
50 quid a month. I don't know. Maybe yeah. Suppose that's like two vinyls these days.
It is. I mean, God, like sometimes you get a new vinyl, it's 30 quid.
Yeah, yeah. Packages are like an exclusive thing type thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing with the new album? Are you
The
doing?
new album is out on vinyl. It's not 30 quid, I don't think. It's a sort of strip back. There's no gatefold. It's just the music, man. I think there's an insert.
Cool. Well, I look forward to that, definitely. Let's go back to the songs. We've mentioned before MGMT, Electric Feel. I mean, again, just another one that's guaranteed to get
Yeah,
people dancing.
I just really took when you asked me to pick some songs of the noughties, I just thought, um, what were my strongest feelings? I mean, when we started in the band from touring was 2004 to about 2012, and new music would come along, but it wouldn't hit me in the same way that when I was DJing. So I chose these. I've just remembered another one that I should have put on Cribs, but it's too
Which
late.
which one would you go for out of
I go
interest?
Men's Needs. I think it's the best sounding one, but I love all Cribs.
Yeah, yeah. Is that when you had a good relationship? Obviously, quite local type thing.
Yeah, yeah, we did like millions of gigs, and we did them all over the world. Actually, we did like Japan and Australia, maybe not Australia, I can't remember, but America. We were always touring with them. It's great.
And they covered one of your songs for like a live session or something.
We did it for I can't remember. But we did what's it called? Another number, just
Yeah, yeah,
another number, and they did Modern Way,
yeah, yeah.
and it was a
Yes.
double A side single.
Ah, okay, cool. I feel like we've mentioned I Picked Right enough to warrant a play, so
Okay,
I might do some editing and I'll stick that in at some point.
okay.
Then next song, yeah, drums, an interesting choice. Definitely one that kind of caught everyone's imagination. I remember seeing them at Leeds Festival and they didn't play this, I don't think.
Oh, right, good. That's nice.
But
I
yeah,
love
why this
that.
song?
Well, it's just one of those. So I was looking at like noughties, and I wanted to get something to spread it out a bit. So I wanted something that was a bit later on in the noughties, and this song popped out to me because recently we actually went on holiday, me and my little family, and we went to this place which we did not know was a surfing place. Because I remember going and think this is in the beginning of the summer, and going and thinking, God, this place is really dull. What are we gonna do? And when we got there, it was like everyone was surfing. So we thought, well, we better start surfing. And so every morning we would play this song.
Class. Yeah, I mean, I tried it in Sri Lanka. I just couldn't get to grips with it. Nearly like rode my nipples off as well. It's
Was
awful.
there anything else to do when you were in Sri Lanka?
Anything else to do? It was a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
was there
mean,
anything else? Because imagine that there was nothing else to do.
I mean, a lot of it involves water. I remember like I went to this beach bar and you could literally just go into the sea and there were like sea turtles knocking about
Yeah,
that you go swimming with. But yeah,
we were in
mainly eating in the sea. Yeah.
yeah, there was nothing like that. There was no bars where we were,
Oh, really?
just surfing. So we went every day.
Class. Did he get good at it? Or like competent?
I could stand up by the end of it, and I could go along a little bit. It was quite exciting. The first night we watched Point Break,
Don't
which
even
also
know.
has a band reference because I was in a band with Simon back when we were about, oh, I don't know, 14, 15, and we were called the ex-presidents, named after the bank robbers in Point Break.
Yes. Okay, well, let's play the drums then. Here's the drums with Let's Go Surfing. Then a song that you've mentioned previously, Franz Ferdinand, Take Me Out. I was always interested in the structure of this song.
Yeah.
Like, I always wanted, like, if I ever spoke to Alex Kapranos, I'd love to ask him why they had that intro kind of thing. I don't
Yeah,
know. But yeah, it's one that,
I agree. I wonder if it was one of those like, like I've showed you that all that rehearsal stuff. I wonder if it was something that they were just doing. Or
mm.
maybe it was two songs put together and like maybe they had a full song that was that pace and they were just like, God, this is boring. But yeah, it's a really good question. We should find out.
Yeah, I kind of like to hear the full version of that intro if they ever had one.
Yeah, it's a very good question. But this changed, I mean, honestly, this song completely like it's got I mean, is it too much to say it changed everything? I don't know. Do you know what it was? The first Darts of Pleasure EP came out and it was amazing and everybody loved it. It was like doing like in the indie scene in Leeds and it was very influential. But then when Take Me Out came out, I think it went to number 3 in the charts. And it was at that point that personally I looked at that and thought, wow, if this can go from the little room in the cockpit where all the young, coolest kids in Leeds uh, throwing themselves around like mad to be in number 3 in the charts, then okay, we've got a chance.
Yeah, yeah. Did you feel like with people at Radio 1 who were really looking for that, like people like Zane Lowe, you mentioned Joe Wiley, Steve Lamacq, I suppose. How did it work?
No, yeah, I mean there was a lot of records that they were playing. They did play more alternative things. I can remember thinking back in the day that on Radio One they would play. They'd have a little cycle. Maybe it was every 3 or every 4 songs. You'd get a super pop one. You'd get I don't know actually. I don't know what the other two, but you'd have a super pop, something else, and an alternative. And whether that was the Streets or whether that was the Libertines or but every 3 or 4 records there was something for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I remember
Uh,
saying that show, like, we used to listen to that religiously on a night because it was mainly all alternative stuff,
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
new
So
music.
the evening one, yeah, but I'm talking in the the breakfast show or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, the actual playlist
It
type
was
thing.
already before Franz Ferdinand, before um yeah, you'd still hear every three records something that was sort of in my lane,
Yeah, yeah.
which was good.
Okay,
Um
oh, sorry, mate, go on.
I was going to say something else. Yes, because the alternative shows, all the evening shows were alternative. And I've found that recently, even the evening shows are playing just less popular pop. Do you know what I mean? Not popular enough to be in the afternoon, but still in that lane. And I think that is not very cool.
Yeah, I mean, what avenues do you listen to for new music now? I mean, I guess you're presented with all the time, but is there any radio shows you listen to or anything?
Yeah, so there's a few things that I would listen to. So back in 2000 when it was lockdown, I started listening to Introducing on BBC just to find stuff that I wanted to work with. I wanted to work with bands and new artists, and it was a pretty weird time, as you probably remember.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I did find quite a few things through Emily Pilbeam at West Yorkshire, introducing, and then I would even expand that to like all the other places in the country just to try and find new stuff. Um, since then, I haven't really done that in the last 12 months, but Six Music is good. Um, and then stuff like Spotify is really good for that. I'll get suggested something. For example, Oracle Sisters, who are one of my favorite new bands. And I went from here, like being suggested it, playing it, buying the record, the vinyl, and watching them live. And it's like, that's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, the full pathway.
It's the full pathway, yeah.
Okay, then. Don't know if we played it yet. I don't think we have. So here's Franz Ferdinand with "Take Me Out." Yeah, and then another thing Conor McNicholas said was he thought that Franz Ferdinand were the first band to like capitalize on that Strokes buzz like properly. When other people, I guess you'd think the Libertines were first, but maybe not. Don't know.
But I see that as a different scene. I see because scenes happened really fast back then. 2 years was a whole scene. But didn't Take Me Out come out in '03
Let's have a look.
and Strokes came out in '01, which to me
Yeah, that's what I thought.
just
Yeah,
I know it doesn't seem very long, but it seems completely separate to me, which is
yeah,
weird
yeah.
because it's not.
No, I remember like around that time, it felt like an age since Is This It came out. Definitely. So I know what you mean.
When I was at school from about 1990, it went from like in the 5 years that I was in that school, in sort of secondary school, there was three major musical events in those 5 years. Stone Roses and all the Manchester Baggy stuff, um, Nirvana and all that stuff, and Oasis and all that stuff. And it was all within 5 years.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't
Mad.
it? It's like I always think now, like when we were in this period, like so, like you said, like the Kaiser Chiefs doing this anniversary show next year. That's like the Smiths doing it when I was 18 or 20 kind of thing. So it just
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
hard to get your head around a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Those are mad, those when you work back. Say if you go, oh, from that date to this date is 20 years, but from that date backwards is 1901. So it's like, oh,
Okay.
shit. It's the same distance. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And then you mentioned Oasis. Have you got any take on their reunion and like the dynamic
Yeah,
producing thing?
I was thrilled, honest. I'm not even joking. I think what was happening, like, in your life, you've got all this compartmentalizing different things you think about, concerns, worries, things that make you happy, blah, blah, blah. Just getting things done, making dinner, whatever it is, your whole life has got all these little compartments in. And when they got back together, I realized that there's a compartment in my mind somewhere that has a nagging, sad feeling that Liam and Noel don't talk to each other. Because when they got back together, I was like, oh, brilliant. I feel so happy about this. I'm not even bothered about seeing them. I'm just happy that they're you got if you've got family, you've got to value it. You've got to try. It's a shame when it goes wrong, is what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt happy for like the mum and that.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, fair play to them. But I mean, dynamic pricing, is that just, I think that's just part and
terrible.
parcel of modern music or what?
Not at all.
Okay.
That is shameful. I think I can't imagine having been in a band that's very, you know, got a big machine around it. I do believe that the band had no idea because you would never get asked that. And also, no one would explain that, okay, by the way, Liam, uh, the price can go from this price to 300 and 400 quid, and them say yes. It's just not happening. I think people knew, and it is completely shameful because let's think about it. It goes up when it's popular. It's Oasis reunion, therefore it's going up.
Yeah. And there was an argument it'll like um disencourage touts, but I don't see how that happens either.
Now,
Not
because
with like a band of that size.
they had official reselling partners, and when those tickets became available, there was an extra 100 quid on it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Get it? Nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not in a rush to see it, but I'll be interested to see how it goes type thing.
I'm just hoping someone's going to message me the day before. Got a spare? Oh, cool. See you there.
Okay, let's go to your last song then. CSS. Definitely one from like the later period. But yeah, why this song?
Um, did you say the later period
Of
of
the
the?
2000s, really. What was it, like
Oh, right.
2007 or something?
Oh, it was. Yes, yes, yes. I love. I think MGMT and CSS and Klaxons and probably various others. There was a new scene that started in about '07, '08, which was a bit more electronic. It was like sort of indie disco, but I just love how people were writing hits. It was amazing. And these songs are amazing. Like I love that first CSS album, and I'm a bit confused really about the time because I'm sure I used to DJ CSS. I have to find out when this came out. But I kind of, who knows? It's great. That's all I know.
Okay, so here it is. Here's CSS with Let's Make Love and Listen to Death from Above. Got a feeling we didn't talk about MGMT. Did we talk about
We
that?
did briefly.
Okay, I can't remember if I introduced it or not, but I'll
Yeah,
just
you
put it.
did.
All right, cool.
Oh, maybe you didn't introduce it. Should we do a
Uh,
little? Do you want to pick it
is that
up?
all right? Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Then MGMT Electric Feel, kind of mentioned them briefly, but why this particular song?
Well, I wanted to get the range of the noughties that really sort of has had an impact on me, and this was definitely part of it. I first went to see MGMT in 2008. We were recording an album, and afterwards we went down to see them. And what was really strange is that they did their set, and they went off and they didn't play Kids and maybe Electric Feel, uh, and they came on for the encore, and basically, this is so weird. They played the CD or whatever it was, the CD of those two songs, and they just mimed and danced about. And it was their first gig in England, and I just think they were at that point they couldn't play it. I guess
Oh, really? Mad.
weird, right?
Because that video that's resurfaced recently of them playing at a college or something, and they had literally just singing to a backing
Oh,
track.
that's it. Yeah, it was at a college. It was at UCL or something.
Yeah, yeah, just outside type thing.
Yeah, I'd like to watch
Yes.
that. It was funny.
Right, and then definitely play the rat at the end to kind of cap things off. But as well, I want to talk about your music now. Like, yeah, I mean, you're in the band with a few other people from that scene. Like, how did it get together?
How did it get together? Well, let's have a little think. So I'd done a solo album a few years ago, and then we did a tour in 2018. And we, what I realized was that the songs I'd made for my solo album, it was basically I wrote everything and I recorded everything, and I just had a very distinctive craving to do that. to not share it with anybody and just do it myself. I don't know why, but I did it, and I did it quickly, and it came out. But when we went on tour, which also was not the plan, there was no plan to do a tour or play live at all. It was very much a surprise. But I got this band together, and they were just brilliant. They brought the songs alive. There's a different bass player, but we yeah, the songs came alive, and I knew then that if I did make another album, it was going to be with these guys. And Pete, who um plays bass in Everyone Says Hi, he used to play bass in the Kooks, but I knew him before that when he was. I knew him when he was 15 and he got a record deal, and he was in a band called Cube, and they signed to Polydor, and they're from Leeds. And at this point, you know, me and my band were just like desperately trying to get a gig, and these unknown people have got themselves a record deal with Polydor, and we were like, oh my God. Anyway, they became our sort of rivals, Cube. And then I knew Pete from then. So, and bizarrely, I'd seen Pete in the Virgin Active gym in Crouch End uh, quite a few times when we'd always say hi, have a little chat. And he was like, listen, if you're doing any more music, get me involved. And I was like, totally. And he came along, heard my demos of this new album. And then when he played on it, it was just like took it to another level. And then when everyone played on it, all Ben, Glenn, and Tom, they all came in, like sometimes at the same time, playing on the demos. And it was just like, okay, this is the band. We're going to go in the studio and we're going to record this properly. We did it live with overdubs and that because it was just amazing, really. It was great to hear the songs played by really good people. And that was it. It's a band.
Yes.
And yeah, and then the gigs have been amazing. Like, and everyone's like completely into it in the same way that you would if you were like 20. It's really good.
No, I mean the songs are great though. Like I think they definitely stand off. They're pretty brilliant. I mean, are there songs that you already had, did you say? Or have you come up with any as a band?
I would, so I always do the same thing, really. I like to write, and I'll always write and write and write and write, hoping that I'll get a song that I like. And when I do that, I'll flesh it out a bit. And with these songs, I asked Justin Parker, who is one of my best friends, a songwriter, to come along and join in on the lyrics. Really, I just thought I was really in the spirit of collaboration, which was the opposite of my debut, my solo album, which was just like desperate to not let anybody in. Don't know why. So I'll go through phases, and this was a phase of letting everybody in to see if we could make this better and better and better. And I think what we've done since, we have written some songs in the room together. Um, but it's great being where I always like having a mic. Even when I was on the drums, I would always probably take not precedent, but I would always be the loudest voice. So I'd always be singing and making up the song as everyone's playing. And it's the same now.
Cool. And then did have James on from your record label who
Oh, cool.
tipped me off about a story about on the same site that it was originally written with Liam Gallagher in mind. Is that right?
Yeah, well, um, Justin, who I just mentioned, he got asked, this is quite a few years ago, he got asked to write some songs for Liam's first album, I think. And he came to my house and said, look, let's do this together. And I was like, totally, because I really, I mean, that first album definitely maybe was a total life changer for me. And I feel like because I grew up and it hit me at the exact point in my life when I needed it. I'm so baked into that world that I can just open my mouth and do a song like it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So he knew that, and so we did it together, and it was pretty quick. We just wrote it, and he's great at lyrics, and he's just really good. He's technically good. So when we're together, it's great collaborating because you never know what's going to happen, and it does take things to another level. So we wrote that, sent it. and he turned it down, which was sad. Because we just knew that it was perfect for him. But the reason he turned it down was because I was in Kaiser, I'd been in Kaiser Chiefs, which was a real lame reason, really. Um, and other people like around him really liked the song. I think the management and the label liked it, but he wasn't having it. So it was either that just sits doing nothing, or we try. It was quite hard. We had to change the key and do some various bits to it and make it work because it was hard to not sound like Liam. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, fair. And then is there a particular song you'd want to play from the new album to finish?
Um, Ones that are out. Let's go with Brain Freeze.
Okay, great. And I did
Perfect.
want to ask quickly about the fact that you don't know the chords type thing.
Oh
Is that
yeah.
just how you've always written? Just like kind
No,
of,
no. I
oh.
actually decided very determinedly to try and write something with none of the chords that I would normally use. So a lot of them were just move. I put a capo on, which is something I'd never really done. The reason I'm looking out the window is because I'm watching a woodpecker. It's really good. There is a woodpecker outside, and it is doing the classic woodpecker thing. It's got its head is doing the thing, and it is chopping into a pretty dead tree and getting lots of nice, tasty things. So I
I've got
wish
a
I could
window
do it.
cleaner on my side as well.
Have you?
It's all going on, yeah.
Well, um, yeah, it's very, very distracting, I'm afraid. It's a classic woodpecker outside. Um, where were we?
Chords to brain freeze.
Yeah, so I tried really hard to make up some chords that I'd never played before, and some of them I thought didn't even exist because they just were just fingers in places. So I really love Nathaniel, who I asked, do you know him?
Only from your video, yeah.
Oh, right, okay, so he's quite big on Instagram. He does all, so there's a place in Chicago called Chicago Music Exchange, which is one of the best music shops in the world. It's amazing. And he is from Manchester, I think, and he works there and does all the social stuff and the content and the videos. And he's unbelievable at the guitar. He's my favorite guitarist. And so I'd followed him, he'd followed me, we'd chatted a little bit, hi, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And then at one point I just went, look, can you figure out these chords and film it? And he did. So it's good.
Yes. Yeah, I had a good go at trying to copy, but I'm not that great at guitar, so it'd take me
Yeah, it's best to
a few
not know
goes.
the chords and try and do it. It's just best to sort of put your fingers in the right places, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, here's the song. Here's Everyone Says Hi with Brain Freeze. All right, cheers, Nick.
I mean,
I'll let
honestly, this woodpecker is just bashing with it like that with its head. It's amazing.
still going.
Yeah, it's a pretty dead tree, I think. Yeah, a lot of
Okay.
bark to knock off. It's good.
Yes. All right, mate. Well, I'll see you in just over a month then.
Yeah.